intro. That's our intro. Me starting the timer and saying, "Hey, it's a thing. It's episode 88." Welcome
Great
to the...
entry.
I know. What else do I have? Welcome to the Blade Job. My name is Ryan. This is Mags. Mags is here.
I'm here again. The return of the Mags, scene as episode 87 was titled "Return of the Mags," and you haven't done an episode since, so it's like I've never left.
It's true. It is like you have never left. And High Voltage Scott Perkins was scheduled to be here today. However, High Voltage Scott Perkins has, let's say, a family who doesn't care about his unpaid professional wrestling podcast career.
Selfish.
I agree. Selfish as all hell. But feel free to check us out on YouTube. Check us out on Twitter at The Blade Job Show. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, such as Google Play or iTunes. Also, Spotify. Now,
And Podcast Republic.
Yes, I guess. Is that just an average, like a...
It's my app of choice. I have not had a problem with Podcast Republic. It's some podcast apps can be very temperamental. You can't find everything you want. Well, that's not the case with Podcast Republic. They are such a great app. Follow them at Cast Republic if you wish.
So, are you sponsored by them now, or...
No, they don't even follow me back.
That's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with that, but I'll talk to them privately in the next investors meeting. But we're here and we are chatting, and we are mere hours away from All Elite Wrestling's first official pay-per-view since going on TNT.
Yes.
Full Gear. Now,
Full Gear.
Let's obviously talk about it, because more likely than not, people are going to be listening to this after the pay-per-view has aired, because let's be honest, I'm not the show that people go, "Oh, fuck, it's out. I gotta listen to it right now." You know, they listen to it on their leisure time.
Or by accident.
I'm assuming during tea with the family. See, I used some British colloquialisms there for you.
Family.
Oh, so actually, funny story about that. When I was doing a stream the other night, mixer.com/nishguy, check me out. We had a gentleman in there who said that he had to run out for tea real quick. And everyone's asking about, "Oh, what kind of tea are you having?" And I'm like, he said cheers and mate. I almost guarantee he's talking about going out to dinner. And nobody seemed to grasp it right away, including Melissa. I will call her out.
But to be fair, what time was the stream?
This was during the day for me, so this was like mid-afternoon, so it was definitely evening time.
So it could have been, depending on where in Britain he was from, us Northerners call the evening meal tea. But if you're further down south, it's called dinner. So he could have been talking actually about a cup of tea.
Nope, it was in fact dinner, so he was probably a northerner.
Yeah, he could well be one of us northern lads.
Yeah. Or she. I mean, I actually don't know, because all I get is names. I don't actually get genders associated with my people in stream.
Actually, that was very rude of me to assume the person's gender. So
it was. I had a long conversation about this last night that we will not get into today, because politics are not the focus of this. And I don't give a shit what people are. You do whatever I don't care. It's you be you. Be yourself.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
AEW Full Gear, first pay-per-view since going live on TNT. That is tonight. I'm excited, but apprehensive, because I don't think the build-up was as strong as it could have been. And that's a little disappointing, considering, like, this is what we were waiting for. We were waiting for TV so they could actually have storylines, so they could actually build up towards something important. And I don't necessarily think they hit the mark. The only real storylines I see going on are Cody and Jericho, Moxley and Omega. There's really no storyline with the women. There's something going on with Brandy, but it really doesn't make any sense. And the tag title picture is all just based on the tournament. It's not really.
That was always going to be a dumpster fire the way they set that up.
Mm-hmm.
And I've, for someone who's been I've been looked at as probably someone who's negative on AEW, and that's not really the case. I'm just more open-minded rather than being rather than having these rose-colored glasses that a lot of AEW fans have had. But I'm pretty down on how the Dark Order have been treated in this kind of this tournament. For me, they should have won it. I can understand the booking why they didn't win it, but it seems like this is AEW's first time where they've failed. And my worry with AEW at the beginning was that they were going to be booking for the boys. The fact that these wrestlers were in charge and they were going to be looking out for the friends and stuff like that. But I'm now more concerned that they're actually booking to placate the fans, because the fans obviously didn't take to Dark Order as well as they thought.
Yeah.
And it seemed like the booking has changed to suit that, rather than Dark Order be this heel tag team that you want that should be leading the charge. They've been like, oh, the fans aren't taking to them, let's shit on them straight away and let's bury them. And it's kind of they wanted to get away from this old WWE kind of reactionary booking, and they fell straight into the trap at the first hurdle.
That's the thing, is the biggest. So their biggest thing was, we don't want to be WWE. We want to listen to the fans, and they have for the most part. And I still stand, but that's a really bad business model, because the fans don't know what they want. They think they know what they want, but look at WWE. You know, everyone wanted so badly for Becky to be champion, and then she's champion and they turn on her immediately. Everyone wanted so badly for Seth to be champion. He became champion and they turned on him immediately. The fans are not in the business professionally. That is one of the reasons why I don't do a lot of fantasy booking, and I will call out bullshit booking when I see it, but I don't pretend to understand how to know what's going on, especially in WWE, where there's a room of writers and there's Vince McMahon, and there are literal hundreds of performers that they have to worry about. It's not all going to be good. AEW has a much smaller roster. I'd put it akin to NXT, and I don't know, Triple H is doing a pretty fucking good job. And I know he has William Regal and he has Shawn Michaels, and he has a lot of people on his team that make NXT good, but the flip side, we've got, I may not like him as a wrestler, I may not like him as a person, but I don't doubt Cody's understanding of the business. They've got the Bucks, who clearly know what's going on. They've got Kenny Omega, who, honestly, I'm not like, Kenny's the greatest thing that's ever happened to professional wrestling. He's good. He might even be great. But is he a legend 10 years from now? I don't know. Maybe. But he obviously has a creative side to him that's really, really cohesive with what they're trying to do. But they don't seem to really know what to do with all these people they have. They have all these people, and do not pander to the fans, because we are not bookers. We don't deserve shit at the end of the day. We don't. It's like, it's like the end of Game of Thrones. Everyone freaked out and flipped out about, oh, that wasn't the ending I wanted. Well, what the hell? Who cares? Yeah, it was a little disjointed. It was a little rushed, but it was it's a TV show, guys. Let's all calm down a little bit.
But that's the joys of social media, though. Everybody's got a voice and everybody's a critic and everybody knows best. But when it comes down to brass tacks, they don't know best, and they don't even know what they want themselves. Because if you gave them what they want, they complain about what they want, what they got, and they want something else.
Yeah, like they don't know what goes on backstage either. You know, I bet there's wrestlers who say, actually, I want to job out in this match. I want to put blah 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 over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. And then that person goes over and the fans freak out. Yep. And it's like, well, how do we know that this wasn't like this long discussion between the performers? You know, so now you're saying the performers are wrong? Like, the fans are not the end all be all, and everyone says, well, if there's no fans, there's no show, and yeah, that's true, but like, I don't want to sit in the writers' room of, you know, the Flash and listen to them like decide on what the storyline for the season's going to be, and then tell them, well, hold on a second, actually, I'd rather if you did this. No, I want to sit back and I want to see it as it unfolds, and I will make an informed decision about it later. I'm also very rarely a person who goes on social media and bitches and whines and complains about how badly this is. Oh, they fucked up. It's like, no, I'll praise things if they're good. If something's really, really, really bad, I will definitely point it out. But for the most part, you know, if we praise the good, I don't think people understand how social media works either. If you praise the good and ignore the bad, only the good will remain. But if, you know, something you don't like, if all you do is talk about it on social media, that's going to trend, and the companies are going to see that and say, oh, it's over.
Yeah, like, it's working. It's getting the attention that they want.
Yeah, because that's what it is. You know, I've said it 1,000 times before. Triple H has said, the worst reaction is no reaction. The worst reaction is silence. That's when you know you done fucked up. Mm-hmm. And I don't think people get that, because if you really hated the idea of Crown Jewel, why was Crown Jewel the #1 trend on Twitter? Like, if you hate this so much, why are you talking about it? Like, oh, but you need to. So all Vince is seeing, because, you know, Vince doesn't use his social media, he's seeing raw numbers. Oh, Crown Jewel trended worldwide. Let's sign a new deal with them.
Exactly. Analytics, and that's what it's about. And that's why you get a lot of big YouTubers not really concerned about whether they get likes or dislikes. It's all about the interaction and the analytics. If people are disliking their product, it's as good as they like it in the terms of numbers. And
yeah, if you get 10,000 dislikes, but you also got 30,000 views, like, who gives a shit? I got my views. At the end of the day, if you're monetized, YouTube's gonna pay you. Exactly. It doesn't matter if it's negative or not, because the negative press is making people watch your video. It's absolutely insane to me. But at the end of the day, the fans don't know what they want. And with that being said, let's tell AEW what's wrong with their product.
Because we know better.
Yeah, mommy knows best. That got creepy. I agree. The whole tag team tournament fell flat for me. Not the victors. I'm actually a huge SCU fan. I would have 100% preferred if it was Christopher Daniels instead of Scorpio Sky, because he's the one I don't really care for.
I think Scorpio Sky's going to be the breakout star.
It's because he's young. It's only because he's young. If Christopher Daniels and Kazarian were the same age they were at the forefront of TNA, they would be the stars 100%. I'm not a huge Scorpio Sky fan in general. He doesn't do it for me. He's not bad. He's just I'm indifferent to him. I really don't care. But the fact that they eliminated the Bucks in the first round was the smartest thing they did, because they showed that. Because, I mean, let's be honest, we all figured the Bucks were gonna win it. Like, out of the gate, it was like, well, yeah, they're gonna put the titles on the Bucks.
Yeah, I thought they'd at least get to the final. I didn't think they were going to win it. I honestly really thought they were going to go with the Dark Order because having a heel champion and then having like a huge babyface team chasing him makes for interesting TV. But obviously the fans kind of shit on the Dark Order, and that swayed like the booking. I mean, I assume that's where the booking. If this is how they booked it from day one, it like I said, it fell flat. It hasn't worked.
Yeah, and I agree. Like I don't have a lot of feelings on the Dark Order yet. I could see them winning. Like that's the thing is like I didn't see them losing, but I didn't necessarily see them winning. I wasn't really sure. Like when the Bucks were eliminated, I was pretty set in stone on Lucha Bros versus SCU in the finals. I mean, just based on how the brackets were set up, that's what I felt right off the bat. But why give the Dark Order the bye just to eliminate them?
Yeah, exactly.
It felt weird to me, especially as a heel team. You know, the heel team, we beat everyone in the tag team tournament, and then you could use well, you had a bye, you know, and they're like, well, screw you, we're still better, kind of thing. You know, it would have worked for a heel team.
And they've got an overabundance of face teams, which is quite worrying for storylines going forward.
You know what's really worrying me? How much Private Party has shown that this big stage is affecting them, because they have progressively gone downhill since TNT. Their matches have progressively got sloppier and sloppier. And that worries me because I'm a huge Private Party fan. And
yeah, I didn't know a lot about them. I'd heard about them on the grapevine. I haven't really seen a lot about them before AEW. And whilst I can see the heart behind them, I'd been that objective where I don't really know about them. I can see that they have got like some issues, but again, we're talking about an AEW crowd that will lap up absolutely anything and will kind of like brush any kind of issues under the carpet, which for me that's still the worst thing about AEW. It's the fact that the fans are lapping up things that they would give WWE shit for.
I agree. I 100% agree. And like, because Private Party used to wrestle in New England for Wrestling Has a Tomorrow, so I've seen them at quite a few shows, and they've always been on top of their game. And when they debuted for AEW, they were on top of their game. But the last couple of weeks, their matches have been not that great.
Yeah, there's been points in the matches where you can tell that they were waiting for setups in to do like spots, which that takes me cleanly out of the story and the performance. And then when they've pulled off some of the spots, they've not been the best. And it's like, was that really worth the wait?
Slightly off topic, but similar to what you're saying, I actually wanted to point out that on Dynamite this week, during the main event,
right.
I think Hangman did his moonsault to the outside, and Jericho was setting himself up for the spot, and he did this really fantastic like turnaround stumble, and it made him look like he was off balance and he wasn't quite sure what was going on, where I think it was Guevara. I think this was before everyone came out and it went to shit. Guevara just like stared directly at Adam Page and stood there. Like, but you know, you got to play it up. Like the only reason you should be waiting for that move is you're disorganized. You have no idea what's happening. You're out on your feet kind of thing. And I think that shows like the difference between someone who's been in the business for 25 years and someone who's been in the business for 3.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
and that's why having Jericho as the head of the talent in terms of being the champion can only help these people, because it's those little nuances and those little macro performances that will make these guys are better wrestlers. And the guys in the inner circle, I mean, obviously, apart from Ortiz and Santana, who've been around a long time, they could use this knowledge and use this time to really learn from Chris Jericho.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, even, EYFBO, like they've been around for a long time. They've been in TNA.
Proud and powerful.
Yeah,
it's proud and powerful.
It's EYFBO. They're gonna, they're in such a great situation right now because they're getting their first really, really big break, and they're partnered with someone who can teach them. Now, I know there's some problematic things and there's some controversy surrounding Jericho right now, and obviously that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about what he can give to the younger talent. And that's definitely something that he's going to be able to give. And Guevara needs it because Guevara is still super green to me, and I just don't like him. I mean, I see nothing special about him, and I know that sounds harsh, but I look at him and I just don't see anyone I want to see on my TV.
I mean, if I was to bring in a stable of like younger wrestlers if I were in Jericho's position, I don't think Guevara would have been one of my first picks. I probably would have actually picked someone like Jack Evans or even Kip Sabian. But I mean, if he learns under Jericho, I can see Guevara being a big star because he's got that cocky swagger. He's obviously quite talented in the ring, and he has got the potential to be a pretty decent main event star.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see his path to greatness laid out in front of me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misinterpreting him. But yeah. But moving on from the tag team stuff, there's been no movement with the women's division whatsoever. The women's division is officially stagnant and stale, and it's only been 5 weeks.
Yeah,
what the fuck are you doing?
It's very interesting that even like these groups of AEW like lovers on Twitter are pointing this out, that this women's division, they've got probably, I'd say, along with Impact, one of the best talent wise women's division, and they're doing nothing with them. There's the only storyline that's being built is about Stephanie Brandy, and this power that she's like abusing, and it's weird. It's really, really weird that they're not using this amazing talent, rich roster of women the way that they are doing with the likes of the tags and the men. And this is coming from a company who said they was going to be all inclusive, that they're going to treat women with the same equal rights and pay as the men, but yet they have the lowest percentage of women's matches on any mainstream wrestling product.
And not to mention, the only person that's getting any real character development is Brandy. And Brandy, is bad in the ring. She's not good. There's a reason she was fired twice by WWE. She's not good. Secondly, her character makes no sense. I don't get, like, she just all of a sudden decides that she hates everyone, like, and that she's being bullied by who? She hasn't even fucking been on TV half the time. Like, what is happening?
It's this very like almost supernatural thing that she's gone for.
Which,
like, where does that come from?
I love that shit too. I love the Fiend. I love the Demon Finn Balor. I love Kane. I love Mankind. I love The Undertaker. I love supernatural characters. I really do. I think they're super interesting. You know, it's very theatrical, and that's what professional wrestling has always been about. It's the theatrics of it. And why are you giving this like potentially like cool gothic witch storyline to someone who isn't going to be able to do anything with it because she's not that talented. It bothers me that they're wasting actual character development on someone they're not even using right now.
Yeah, and the way that it was set up really, like, it irked me because the week before she was out with Cody. She gets she takes a bump at the side of the ring, and then the next week she's this supernatural witch type character, and it's like, where did that come from? There was no build up to it at all. It was literally just, oh, next week I'm going to be this character, and we're all going to go along with it like nothing ever happened. And it's that kind of stuff that takes me out of the programming. But yeah, it's weird. And to say they wanted to avoid all these links with WWE, she's doing the Stephanie McMahon character from the outset, absolutely from the outset.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Annoys me. It annoys me.
It's, I don't know, the biggest thing that is just bothering me is, like you said, is the women have such a great roster. They have some of the best female talent on the planet, international talent. They've got, just this amazing women's roster, and they don't seem to understand. They don't seem to understand what goldmine they have, and instead they're giving us cobbled together tag matches. They're giving us no storylines. They're like
look at the champion, Rio. She's an absolute brilliant talent. But if you didn't know her backstory from before, what do you know about her now as an AEW performer, apart from that she's the champion? They've given you no information about her at all. There's been no build-up of storyline for her. There's no reason why she was the person to be the champion, apart from the fact she was dainty compared to the size of Nyla Rose. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. It just annoys. It absolutely annoys.
No video package. And I understand, especially when you're in a situation like this where you have Japanese talent who may not have the greatest grasp on the English language, you got to run video packages with subtitles or with translator or something to get their character across.
Correct. And it's not like they haven't had the time to do that. They could have easily done a retrospective video of this is the kind of stuff that she's gone through in her career and why she's got to AEW and why she's the champion. But every week we've had multiple Cody Rhodes packages. We had video of him 4 or 5 times in the back of a limo with Tony Schiavone, when that could have easily just been used to give a 5-minute video of
Cody's ego will overshadow everyone in this company, period. It will, because he's proven it already. He has his pay-per-view entrance for promos. It bothers the hell out of me. And people are just like, oh my God, Cody is so amazing. He's so wonderful. And nothing he does is ever bad. And it's like, no, Cody's being a fucking egotistical prick. And I'm sorry, but he's the only one who's getting a real storyline right now and real character development. But his character development is, I'm Cody Rhodes. That's why you should like me.
Yeah, but the thing with that is it is working, and the fans are lapping up everything he does. So it would be a bad move for them not to capitalize on that. Potentially in wrestling now, he's probably the biggest face character because everything he does, the fans absolutely love. So as a company, yeah, I think they're right to push him into that position, but not at the detriment of probably the most talent-rich women's division in wrestling, or not at the detriment of having storylines for all the other wrestlers. Well, yeah, I mean, they are 6 weeks in. I understand that it can be kind of difficult to cram storylines into that 6-week period, but we've seen WWE do it within 3 weeks of period. Yeah, it's never the best, but at least they've done it. And AEW haven't made an attempt to that outside of Mox.
I was going to say, they've done it for Moxley. We had CZW footage this week. We had a full retrospective video of how violent this man can be. but we can't even find out who the fuck Rio is.
Yeah,
Like,
I think we're going to get through Full Gear. We're going to see how the land lies after that. I think Full Gear is going to be like the first acid test to see whether they have got the finger on the pulse of wrestling or whether it is just booking for the sake of
I
crowd
think
pops.
for the more casual fans, this is going to be a very big make or break for AEW right now, because the casual fans who are finding out about it via TNT are going to pay $50 for a pay-per-view, and if it's not great, they're not going to watch anymore. They're not going to pay money for this product. You know, like, this is a huge moment for AEW, and if they screw it up, this could be bad. We've already seen, I know, I hate it too, but people love to talk about the ratings, that NXT has caught up. They are nipping at their heels. Like,
was it 9,000 different?
Yeah, it was like 810 versus 900. Like, it was real fucking close. And, you know, but also NXT does have the benefit of WWE being their parent company, and albeit I have not watched really anything recently, but the invasion of NXT into the main roster is brilliantly done, because people have been expecting it and waiting for it for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's being done properly because Triple H is involved with that part.
And it all came because of the issues with the Saudi Arabia travel, and that just goes to show how good WWE can adapt when they need to. They've obviously, I've said on this show, and I've said on many shows, how WWE can do their best products when the back is up against the wall. The Saudi issue showed that their back was up against the wall. This AEW challenging NXT and beating them week for week shows that WWE's back is up against the wall, and they've been nailing it every week.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm sorry. I just want to stop you for 1 second. So AEW does 900,000. NXT does 800,000. That's just TV ratings. Take the other 500,000 people who watched it on the network, and NXT is beating them week after week. Because NXT has the benefit of being available after the fact. Easily available.
Yep, true. I know that NXT is only available in the UK on the network, and you can watch it at your own leisure, whereas Dynamite is available on RTV4. The analytics over here in Britain aren't really released as quickly as they are in the US, so it's kind of a struggle getting hold of the figures. But I could easily say confidently that NXT on the network gets more viewers than Dynamite is getting on RTV.
I would even argue that based on their subscriber base, that NXT on the network is getting the same amount of viewers that it is on TV. That we could be talking 1.6 million.
Possibly. I think that might be a little high. I'd say probably about, what did they have, like 2.1 million subscribers,
something like
monthly?
That.
I'd say, going off like low end figures, I'd say a quarter of them are watching NXT. So I'd say it's an extra 500,000.
Yeah, I mean those are huge numbers for what's essentially developmental, and that's the thing is, like, you know, AEW is doing well for a new product, but in TV world, 900,000 viewers is not good. Like, that's low. That's very low when like things like, you know, American Idol does 8 million per episode or something, like, you know, like we're still talking low numbers, and professional wrestling is still a niche, you know, entertainment choice. And, you know, we go back to, you know, the late 90s, when we're talking 5, 6, 7, 8 million viewers per episode of Raw and Nitro, and obviously this is still a very low period for professional wrestling viewing.
Yeah.
We're nowhere near the levels we were. And that's what everyone seems to think. They think that AEW is this resurgence of professional wrestling in the mainstream, but it's not. If it was, it'd be doing 3 million viewers. It's not. Because the casual fans don't know who these people are.
All they've done is they've split the user base. Yeah. That's what's happened. No, I don't think there's a significant growth in the amount of people watching wrestling. It's just a split in the products that they're actually watching.
Yeah. I've turned a couple of people on to AEW because they stopped watching WWE, and I said, hey, there's a new thing out there. Maybe you want to check it out since you were a big wrestling fan. And they've enjoyed it. I actually was talking to my father about it the other day because it is, my father's in his 70s, and we were sitting down, we were chatting, and he goes, hey, so Dusty's kid has a wrestling promotion now? And I told him, I kind of explained it to him, and he said, oh, that sounds interesting. And he's like, I saw there was some other guy, I thought it was WWE, but there was this guy on USA, and he had long hair, beard, I don't know, he was the champion of something. I'm like, okay, that's NXT. And my father was kind of blown away. He's like, I didn't know this kind of stuff was on TV anymore. I thought it was just Raw and SmackDown, and so even he's kind of hearing about it. So it is permeating in pop culture.
Yeah.
But my father was also a wrestling fan back in the day. That's how, my father and I are two very, very different people. He's very motivated and a hard worker. I am not. But
he's a wrestling fan.
But we bonded over professional wrestling when I was young. He would watch Raw in the early 90s and WCW Saturday Night and stuff like that, and I would wander into his bedroom and sit on the floor and watch it with him because I was completely blown away by the fact that this existed. And that was kind of how we bonded, and so it's still nice that we can talk about that kind of stuff, even if he doesn't follow it anymore, But
it's likely that he was in the smallest way keeping up with what were going on, because otherwise he wouldn't have heard of AEW.
Yeah, well, he watches sports, real sports, okay. And obviously anything on TNT. I don't know how much basketball he watches, but he watches a lot of cop shows, which if you're gonna watch cop shows, TNT's kind of your go-to channel. So I'm sure he's seen commercials for it and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not permeating like people said it was going to. It's not changing the game necessarily. I think it's just a new option, and they have two options right now. One, AEW can continue on this path of being the indies, but it's on TV, or they can evolve into something new and different and be, I don't want to actually say new and different, old and different, and permeate with old school, local NWA, WCW, or even early WWF on television. Those are really your options, because you can't be WWE, and it's not because of the product is different. It's because you don't have the capital and you don't have the fan base to be WWE.
And I'm still waiting for them to live up to the mantra that they set before we got the TV programming. Their whole philosophy was they was going to change the wrestling world.
They were going to change the universe.
Well, that I think that was Jericho adding his own little spin on it. But there's nothing new yet that I've seen. Not that there's not going to be anything new, but there's nothing that hasn't been done before.
And the things that they've introduced that are at least new to us kind of thing, or new to people kind of thing, even if they've been done before, are kind of stupid. Like the whole 3 judges thing for the title match, I think is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah,
like
the matches I've seen with judges like that, they don't work.
They're smart because they, let's be honest, they can call it a lights out match all they want, but the main event is Moxley and Jericho, or Moxley and Omega. That's smart. Send the people home with something they're gonna remember, as opposed to meh.
But that match is, again, it's only set out that way to circumvent a rule that they put in place. They said they were going to make a massive issue of records meaning something, but they know that the big match is Omega versus Moxley. How do you have both these guys come out of this match and it not affect their record? You have a match that is stricken from the record books.
And I'm okay with, honestly, that's not a terrible storyline beat. It actually at least slightly makes sense.
Yeah, I get that, but it's still making a mass mean something in but then all of a sudden records only mean something if it depends on the quality of your win, and then it's records mean nothing, because if we want this big dream match and we want both people to come out of it without a blemish on the record, it's a lights out match.
Yeah, and I know they'll overdo it because this is the second one they've done in 8 weeks or something like that. It's definitely worrisome that they're going to the well this quickly. However, I don't hate the storyline. I think it and they've done it justice. They've done it well. But things like the title, the title storyline has been, just egos. But the thing is, Chris Jericho's ego is part of his character. Cody's ego is part of who he is. And, Jericho, the Inner Circle video package on Wednesday was really well done. It was funny. It got the point across. And then Jericho's video package the week before was literally him sitting in a limo, talking about how great his dad was.
You mean Cody?
That's the one. That guy.
Yeah. I enjoyed the little bit of a video they did with Jericho and Sammy Guevara, where you could see that Jericho, whilst he's playing this ego character where he's the best, he had them inner doubts. He wasn't able to concentrate. I thought that was very, very clever.
But I also thought it was even more clever because he's clearly still saying that he's the best, but you should feel bad for him because some really inconsequential thing has happened and it's made him upset. It's actual character development, and you can tell that that's not AEW management saying, hey, we've got this idea we want you to do. That's Jericho saying, hey, I've got this idea and I think it would be really funny.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And I understand that they're saying, we want to give the wrestlers a little more say on what they're doing. But you still have to draw the line in the sand. You can't just say, everyone do whatever the fuck you want. You need to kind of sit down and go, well, hold on. We have this thing for you. What are your feelings on it? And maybe we'll change things up.
So what do you think about the stipulation that Cody added about him not being able to challenge for the title?
So, 2 things. 1, Cody's going to be champion tonight. 2, if he doesn't win, if there's that small chance that they swerve us and he doesn't win, that's absolute horseshit. He will absolutely vie for the title again. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
This will be the ever-loved, you lost a retirement match, but you were there the next night on Raw.
Yeah,
Like
the Juan Cena kind of match.
This will be the you're fired, but 6 weeks later you're back because clearly you just had a nagging injury and you need a couple days off. That's what it will be. It will be they're gonna say that Cody is never gonna have a title match again. Like, that's absolutely insane to even consider, because we all know it's true. We all know Cody will have a title match one way or the other. I still think. Go ahead.
Go on. I was just going to say, you are awkward, mister. Finish what you were going to say.
I just think that they're going to take the easy way out. Cody is going to win on Saturday, tonight, last night, whenever you're listening to this. And people are going to lose their shit because, once again, they're pandering to the fans. And the rest of us, the ones who actually pay attention, are going to say, wait, what the fuck? Why? And it's going to kind of derail their main event slot unless they have a challenger who is going to blow our minds.
The only out I can see that saves face, and I think it's too early to do it, is if MJF turns on Cody and Cody wins by disqualification. He still wins. He doesn't get the title, but he can still challenge again because he did defeat Jericho. He didn't say that if he wins the title, if he doesn't win the title, he'll never be able to challenge. He said if he couldn't defeat Chris Jericho. But I don't want that turn yet. I don't want MJF to turn on Cody yet, because that is one of the more interesting little like macro stories that they've got.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. But it's just MJF has been very oddly used lately. I feel like they're not quite sure what to do about it. Like, they know that everyone is just waiting for the heel turn, and that shows that they're just kind of like, okay, when do we do it? And that yawn is based on this storyline. That just worked out. It's just like, don't do it just because people think you should. Do it because it makes sense. And it does make sense. But at this point, since everyone is expecting it, why not have Dustin turn on him? Why not have Brandy turn on him? Why not have DDP turn on him? Like, why not have someone else turn on him to cost him the title? Like
Tony Schiavone.
Yeah, Tony Schiavone bumps like a champ, you know? It's like it's just like, there's so many ways you can do this, but we all expect it, mainly because you have aligned a known heel with your top face.
Yeah.
Like, no shit, we're expecting him to turn on him. Like,
but I think that kind of spoke to something that we've mentioned before on this show, that Cody doesn't know what he wants his character to be. He wants to be the heel, but he also wants to be the star of the show, the face of the show, and he is trying so much to be both that he's actually not working it either, for me.
I definitely can agree on that. It's,
you pick a lane and go in it. Are you going to be the face of the company? Are you going to be the fans are cheering? Because that's working. They are cheering. They're eating up every little thing he does. But then he's still got these like little nuances of wanting to be a heel, and just pick one and go with it.
Yeah, it's just because I don't know what I want Cody to be either. Because as like a non-Cody fan, I want him to do something. Excuse me. But I want him to do something that makes sense, and I want him to do something that's not going to overshadow more talent. I don't know. I don't know what I want from Cody. I don't know what the fans want from Cody, because right now it seems like people just go, Cody, yeah, he's the best. Yeah. And it's like, he comes out here and people start cheering for him like he's the second coming of fucking Christ, and he just sits there jerking off because he loves the adulation. Yeah. That's all I'm seeing, and it's like, man, like, we gotta... Ooh, is there more to your character, or are you just Dusty's kid?
Exactly.
Because honestly, I'm sorry, but your brother didn't do this. He did it for a time. He, you know, back in like the late 80s, he was the natural Dustin Rhodes. And it was very much a play on his father's legacy. But that's when he was starting. And then he moved on and he became something much more. Because I didn't even know that Goldust was Dusty's kid for a long time. Because I was young when he was in like WCW. And
they didn't really allude to it a lot on WWE.
No, because he was Goldust. That was it. He was Goldust. It wasn't for a couple of years they even referred to him as Dustin. Like, when he was... It wasn't until... I think I really understood it when he came back to WCW. And he was 7 for about 8 minutes. And then he was like, no, I'm fucking Dustin Rhodes. Like, this is stupid. You know? And I loved that worked shoot kind of thing. And I, like... People talk shit about Vince Russo and WCW, but I don't know, he did some cool stuff, and 7 was one of them. Having him come out as this new face painted character just to rip off the face paint and be like, this is stupid. Like, I thought that was good. And everyone's like, oh, that was a shoot. It's like, no, it wasn't. 99% of what happens in the ring is not a shoot.
Yeah, that was clearly a stab at WWE.
You know,
or
like to say that CM Punk's pipe bomb wasn't slightly workish, because it was. They would never have allowed that to go on as long as it did if it wasn't. Now,
and then they only cut him when it got to the bits where
he started making fun of Vince and Triple H, and like, you know, and that's when they legitimately got mad at him. And so, you know, but the Triple H said straight up, did you not think we knew he was going out there with a live mic? Of course we were aware of this. Of course we knew this was about his feud with Cena. We just didn't know how far he was going to take it. And yeah, he took it too far, in our opinion. Like,
and that's when they cut him off.
You know, and Triple H, once again, and to think that he legitimately left the arena and went home, and that was not, like, part of something. Like, he just straight up left. And I know he did. He actually went home after that show, after Money in the Bank, when he won the title back. And I'm sure they assumed he would have come back. Mm-hmm. And he didn't, because he was like... He had to have come back at some point, because his gear was there. His clothes were there. You know, but, like things that happen in the ring are typically at least 50% work all the time. At least. It's one of the things that, I mean, I love Paul Heyman, you know, but WWE is always asking him to shoot. And it's like, not really anymore. Like, he's not shooting at all. And I understand that Paul Heyman does most of his own promos, but you know he gets, you know, his premise from Vince. Yeah. Vince is saying, we want your promo to be about this. And he goes, okay, I'll go do that. Because I'm a fucking professional. At the end of the day, like, you can say what you will about Paul Heyman. He has a checkered past, to say the least. But he's a professional, and he does what he's asked. Because he is a company man at this point.
Yeah,
You know,
seeing as we're on the topic of promos, not in the blade job I hate Cody, so it sucks kind of mindset, but objectively, how do you feel about Cody's promo?
so I'm going 50-50 on it. I liked the idea and I liked certain things about it.
Yeah.
However, he's saying all of this stuff about he was speaking the truth. You know, I'm management. People don't like that, blah blah blah. But it felt like he was more poking fun at insiders kind of thing. And the fact that he followed it up with something that is so clearly kayfabe with if I don't win, I don't get to challenge anymore. That's what ruined the promo. Is you took something that was very real and raw and you threw in something that's so kayfabe it's not even funny.
Yeah, and then he kind of flipped back to being real again, which was quite weird. For me, I think it's probably his best ever promo.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't disagree with that. I mean the one thing I will always give Cody some credit for is he is not terrible on the mic, which is funny considering he has a slight speech impediment.
Yeah, but if you were to look at that promo in the next 10 years or so, would it hold up against the likes of Hard Times? Would it hold up against the Ric Flair after the Royal Rumble 92? 92 promo.
Yeah.
Would it hold up against Austin's first 316 promo?
No.
Would it even hold up against Hogan challenging The Rock challenging Hogan for WrestleMania 18? I don't think it does.
No.
It's a very, very good promo, but there's so much like love for Cody right now that people are saying it's
tried.
Promo.
He tried to manufacture a legendary promo, and that's what he went into. He tried to do Hard Times. You can't try to do that. Austin 316 was organic. That just happened. Hard Times just happened. Son of a Plumber just happened.
Yep.
Like these things just happened because that's how promos were back then, where they just kind of flowed because that's what they were trained to do. Now they're trained to read scripts. And I'm sure AEW is not just this Wild West like they make it out to be.
No.
You know,
absolutely not. I don't believe it's scripted in the way that WWE scripted at all, but I do believe that they've got significant bullet points that they have to speak on in their promos.
For sure. 100%. You know, I would argue that Moxley's promo was better.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
From 2 weeks ago, last week, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
Moxley's promo was better. I'm the baddest son of a bitch. Yeah. You know,
that felt more natural. I think the only reason that fell down flat for me was at the end. The camera lingered on him just a little bit too long, and it felt like he had to maintain this like anger when he'd actually released it all, and he could feel a little bit calm, and he was having to stare into the camera for so long. It was quite uncomfortable.
The one thing I'm going to say is their biggest issue right now is their production.
Well, their biggest issue is Jim Ross.
Well, I'm just talking about in the grandest of schemes. Their biggest problem, their cameramen seem untrained. Their directors seem slow on the draw. I mean, how many big spots have we missed? Like,
not only that, one thing again, this was on. I think it was this week's Dynamite. they cut to the camera. They cut to the crowd. Sorry, should I say? And I like that. I like the fact that they getting the reactions from the crowd. But there was cuts. One was to a bloke who was combing. Well, he wasn't combing. He was ruffling his own hair with his hands just after there'd been a massive spot, and you think, why would you cut to that? And then there was another one where a match had finished and they cut to a guy who was on his phone, and you're like, why? How are you picking off? These are the reactions that you want on your TV program after a big move or after a finish of a match.
I have done live production, like not an actual TV show, but I went to school for this shit. So we were in a studio, and you're in that studio with multiple screens, and you have multiple cameras, and and here's how it works. You see what's on that camera before you cut to it. You do, because you have a screen for every single camera. And literally at its basic core, the director will be watching the live feed and all of the cameras, and he'll be like, let's say that the current shot is hard cam. We'll call that camera 1. And we're on camera 1. And camera 2, you have your little microphone, and you'll go camera 2, focus on the crowd, find reaction. Focus on the crowd. See the reaction, because there's a delay. And you say, cue camera 2. Cut to camera 2. And that's what we see on TV, is the cut to camera 2. So the director saw that. He saw that guy on his phone before he decided to cut to that camera. Yeah. That's the issue. Now,
baffles me.
I'm not a professional filmmaker. I'm not a professional television production person. I have a basic understanding of this because I've gone to school for it twice. I get it. I understand it, but I've never worked in the field, so I can't pretend to know. And obviously this is, you've got like 7 different cameras, 8 different cameras that you're working with. Like, there's a lot going on. But at the end of the day, it's a professional wrestling program. Please don't miss someone doing a friggin' corkscrew moonsault off the top rope into the fucking crowd. Don't miss that shit. Like,
especially for a guy who is literally on Twitter on his phone, or someone who was straightening his bouffanted hairstyle.
Yeah, fucking, it's absolutely insane to me, but that's neither here nor there. I just think that they really need to up their production because it's gotten better. Also, why does everyone have the same fucking pyro? That bothers me. That's just me. Like, it would be like everyone in WWE coming out to Brock Lesnar's pyro. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, and I get it, they're on a smaller budget, but
to the fans, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that they've got the pyro. It's something that a lot of fans were clamoring for. Like, it really is a big issue in wrestling.
I'm a big fan of it because it's like, it really does add a little something to the entrances. But, I'm also from a time where you had like Kurt Angle had the red, white, and blue pyro. Makes sense. Olympic hero. Edge had, his pyro coming like downwards and upwards at the same time. Christian had the curtain of sparks, which I always thought was really cool.
Yeah, and then obviously you've got Bill Goldberg, who needed the pyro for the breathing smoke kind of.
Yeah, and he like, I mean, people. I'm just going to go off on a tangent because I haven't done that this episode. People don't understand how important Bill Goldberg really was. Because, no, he was not the greatest wrestler of all time. He was nowhere near. In fact, he was fairly underwhelming as a professional wrestler. However, as a character, he was brilliant. He came out there and he didn't need to be good at wrestling because the matches wouldn't last that long. And that was really good booking by WCW. That was some of the best booking they ever did.
That was a time when a record counted as well.
Exactly. And like, WWE has been trying to recapture that magic with Brock Lesnar over the past couple of years, and they have failed miserably because Brock Lesnar, or they tried to do it with you know, a lot of people, but they've never had anyone like Bill Goldberg. Bill Goldberg was right place, right time. That's all it was. And, you know, everyone's like, oh, Goldberg sucked. He was never good. Go back and watch Nitro when he was like champion. The people loved him.
And that's what it's about.
He was adored. He was beloved. He was the staple. He was the only person who could take the face of WCW away from Sting. He was literally the only person who was able to do that. Because Sting was always the guy, and Goldberg came in. And the thing is, Sting never comes across as bitter about that, because he was a company guy. He was like, what's best for the company is what's best for all of us.
Exactly.
You know, and that's what, there's so many egos in AEW. What's best for the company? Does that even fucking matter to Cody? Does that even, I mean, it probably matters, because at the end of the day, he's going to lose a bunch of money if this goes under. But does it matter to Moxley? Does it matter to Omega? Does it matter to MJF? Does it matter to Adam Page? Does it matter to Jericho? No, they want to be the top. If something's good for the company, I don't see any people stepping back and say, yeah, all right, like Pac. Pac has a bit of an ego too. And
without question.
And everyone's so focused on that quote-unquote botched finish. The botch was not the referee. The botch was Pac.
And Trent.
Pac lifted himself up, and I think what he meant to do was pick him up off the mat so he could make him tap.
Yeah.
It was a very heel move. Pac fucked up. I'm sorry if people can't see that, but why would he immediately go into his submission hold if that wasn't his plan? The referee knew the finish was a submission. That's why the referee stopped. It was not a botch on the referee's part. It was a botch on Pac's part of not lifting himself up all the way. Because you could see him move his head up. You could see him start to move himself up. And that's the kind of shit that bothers me. But the tangent is over. I needed to get it in before the end of the program. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been interesting. This one was interesting. I liked it. I also haven't talked in 2 weeks about this kind of stuff, and I really think we could go for like 3 hours right now, but we really, really shouldn't. Because nobody's going to listen to 3 hours of this crap. I mean, shit, I'm not going to listen to 3 hours of this crap. And I'm...
Rude. I would listen to it, but that's because I listen at 3 times the speed, so technically it would be just an hour.
Yeah, there you go. You know, and that's maybe what everyone should do, is we should do 3-hour episodes, and everyone just listens to it so we sound like chipmunks. And
we don't sound like chipmunks. It doesn't increase the pitch, just the speed.
But that could also affect the pitch. Can it not?
I'll play some audio. In fact, I'll do it. Do you want me to do it now? I'll play some audio.
Do it. Fuck it. This is cutting into your promo time, so it doesn't matter to me.
I've got a million podcasts to promo anyway. Let's just find the Blade Job. And I have to scroll right through my feeds because I listen to so many podcasts. Right. So this is Return of the Man.
We picked 4 wrestlers from NXT or AEW and Dominic Dallas made up the because that guy has been phenomenal. And the chemistry between him and Keith Lee has been absolutely brilliant. And the fact we're going to get Roddy Strong inserted into a triple threat, oh my good God. The fact of the matter that because...
How does that sound?
Like chaos.
But it's not chipmunky. It's just fat.
Is that how you listen to us?
Yeah.
On 3 times?
Yep.
How the fuck do you gather any information from that?
Because I've been doing it that long now, if I slow down and listen to even like 2 times the speed, I manage, I suppose. But if I go any longer, it just doesn't hold my attention.
I learned something today about you.
That I'm absolutely crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, absolutely promote your absolutely crazy podcast schedule.
Okay. Well, I have a podcast called 5 Rounds where I talk about actual human farting and not this scripted bullshit that we all love. Yep. I have a podcast called Why We Watch where I speak to fans, creators, and wrestlers about their life and how they became fans of this scripted bullshit that we all love. And I'll be having a certain Blade Job member on that show pretty soon. And then I've got another podcast called Badlands, where we discuss the Mount Rushmores of wrestling, but not just the normal Mount Rushmores of the greatest wrestlers of all time. We have stupid little topics where we'll come up with and we'll have a guest on and we'll thrash it out. And yeah, again, another Blade Job member maybe make an appearance on that very soon. So follow me on Twitter at DJ Kirkberg. Go and check them out if you so desire. Thanks for having me on again, Ryan. I really, really do love going on this show. It's absolutely brilliant.
I want to tell you that I've done no preparation for my recording next week with you.
I didn't even know I was recording with you next week.
I thought it was next week.
Oh, right. Oh, no, yeah, is it Thursday?
I thought it was Wednesday. Maybe it was Tuesday. I don't know.
It may be Wednesday. I'll check my diary.
I don't know.
Yeah, I do the prep like 2 days before.
I don't do any prep. I show up. It's always fun.
The Why We Watch one, you don't technically need to do prep because it's literally about you.
No, I need to come up with a sob story about why people should feel bad for me. But with that being said, feel bad for me. Subscribe to me on mixer.com/nishguy. Follow me on Twitter at The Blade Job Show. And please, if you've made it this far, keep listening because it's all I have in my life. So,
may God have mercy on your soul.
There is no God in my life anymore. He's abandoned me long ago. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Awesome! Every Wednesday on the Wrestling Perspectives Network, RJ and Michael Berry Sr. come to play on the Revisionist Booking. They rebook a wrestling pay-per-view from the past and try to make their cards awesome. Follow them on Twitter at RevisionistBook, at Michael Berry Sr., and go over to iTunes, Stitcher, and blogtalkradio.com/Wrestling Perspective Network and subscribe. Head over to whatforapparel.com/revisionistbook and check out their great apparel as well. And as always, you're welcome, and let the revisionist revolution begin.